Hello, everyone. Welcome to this in-depth presentation on Sustainable Development Goal 6, water. It is the most common substance on Earth, covering 70% of our planet. Yet, it is the most precious resource we have. It is the very essence of life, the foundation of civilization, and the engine of our economy. Without water, there is no food, no energy, no public health, and no future. Today, we are going to explore SDG6, clean water and sanitation. This is not just a goal about drilling wells or building toilets. It is a complex, multifaceted challenge that intersects with climate change, human rights, and global economics. Over the next hour, I will take you through the current state of the world's water. We will analyze the data, look at the stagnation in our progress, examine the barriers we face, and discuss the technological and strategic solutions that can save us. We will look at why, despite all our modern technology, billions of people are still left behind. Let's start by fundamentally understanding what we are trying to achieve. SDG6 is often misunderstood as simply water for all. But if you look at the targets on the screen, you will see it is much more rigorous. Target 6.1 is about safe and affordable drinking water. We must distinguish between improved water sources and safely managed ones. A well is not enough if the water is contaminated with arsenic or E. coli. Target 6.2 covers sanitation and hygiene. This is critical because sanitation is the first line of defense against disease. This target also explicitly mentions the needs of women and girls, highlighting the gender dimension of water. Moving to the environmental side, Target 6.3 addresses water quality. We are polluting our water faster than nature can clean it. Target 6.4 is water use efficiency. As the global population grows, we cannot simply use more water. We must use water better. Target 6.5 calls for Integrated Water Resources Management, or IWRM. This is vital for transboundary cooperation. Rivers do not respect national borders, and without IWRM, water becomes a source of conflict. Finally, Target 6.6 reminds us that we must protect the ecosystems, the wetlands, forests, and lakes that provide the water in the first place. If the ecosystem dies, the pipes run dry. Now, let's look at the reality. The numbers you see on this slide are not just statistics. They represent a humanitarian crisis of a massive scale. Based on UN data from 2024, 2.2 billion people lack safely managed drinking water. Let's pause and think about that. That is nearly a quarter of the human population. For these people, every sip of water is a gamble. It means lost potential, as hours are spent collecting water instead of attending school or working. 3.5 billion people lack safely managed sanitation. This is almost half the world. When sanitation fails, diseases like cholera, dysentery, and typhoid spread like wildfire. It places an enormous burden on healthcare systems. 419 million people practice open defecation. This is the most extreme form of poverty. It is not a choice. It is a lack of infrastructure. This practice contaminates nearby water sources, creating a vicious cycle of sickness. And 1.8 billion people have no on-premises drinking water. Imagine the physical toll of carrying 20 liters of water for kilometers every single day. This burden overwhelmingly falls on women and children, perpetuating gender inequality and poverty traps. The crisis we face is twofold. It is a crisis of quantity and a crisis of quality. First, let's talk about scarcity. Left side. We are seeing a disturbing trend. 50% of the global population now experiences severe water scarcity for at least part of the year. Water stress levels have risen to 18.6%. This measures how much fresh water we withdraw compared to what is available. In regions like Northern Africa and Western Asia, this number is critically high. And we cannot talk about scarcity without talking about climate change. The water cycle is the primary way we feel climate change. Rainfall is becoming erratic. Droughts are longer. The predictability that our farmers relied on for centuries is gone. Second, let's talk about quality. Right side. Even where water is available, it is often unusable. Only 58% of household wastewater receives safe treatment globally. This means nearly half of our wastewater, containing human waste, chemicals, and soaps, is dumped directly back into rivers and oceans. We also face a new invisible enemy, emerging contaminants, pharmaceuticals, personal care products, and PFAS. These chemicals are persistent. They don't break down easily. Conventional treatment plants were not designed to remove them, posing long-term risks to human health and biodiversity. Is the situation hopeless? No. There has been progress, but we must analyze the speed of that progress carefully. From 2015 to 2022, we have seen successes in sanitation, which increased from 49% to 57%. Basic hygiene services have also risen to 75%. This proves that when the global community focuses on a problem, like building toilets and promoting hand washing, we can make a difference. Another bright spot is water use efficiency, which improved by 19%. This is largely driven by the industrial sector adopting better technologies and agriculture moving towards drip irrigation. Now, let's look at the most critical indicator, safely managed drinking water. According to the corrected data, we see an increase from 69% in 2015 to 73% in 2022. This represents a 4% increase over 7 years. While the curve is moving up, we have to ask ourselves, is this fast enough? A 4% increase over 7 years means we are growing at less than 1% per year. At this current historical rate, reaching 100% coverage by 2030 is mathematically impossible. The challenge is that while we are connecting new families to the grid, global population growth and rapid urbanization are constantly moving the goalposts further away. We are making progress, yes, but we are walking when we should be sprinting. Why are we stuck? To solve the problem, we must understand the barriers. 1. The funding gap. This is the biggest hurdle. We are facing an annual financing gap of $140.8 billion. Water infrastructure, pipes, treatment plants, sewage systems, is capital intensive. It requires massive upfront investment, and the returns take years. Currently, global aid, ODA, is actually decreasing just when we need it most. 2. Weak governance. Water is a shared resource, which makes it politically complex. Weak governance means unclear laws, corruption, or lack of enforcement. If industries can dump waste into rivers without penalty, the system fails. 3. Insufficient data. You cannot manage what you cannot measure. In many low-income countries, we simply do not have the data on groundwater levels or water quality. We are flying blind. 4. Climate change. I've mentioned this, but it acts as a threat multiplier. It undermines the infrastructure we do build. A flood can destroy a water treatment plant in hours, wiping out years of progress. Given these barriers, where do we stand regarding the 2030 agenda? The data on this slide is a wake-up call. Steady progress is no longer an option. To reach our goals by 2030, the rate of progress needs to skyrocket. We need to move 6 times faster to achieve universal drinking water coverage. We need to move 5 times faster for sanitation. We need to move 3 times faster for hygiene. Think about the logistical magnitude of this. We don't just need to dig more wells. We need a systemic transformation. We need to build infrastructure at a speed and scale humanity has rarely achieved before. This requires a wartime level of mobilization for water security. And if we need to move 6 times faster, we cannot use yesterday's tools. We must leverage technology. Digital water management. This is the era of smart water. By using sensors and AI, utilities can detect leaks in real time. Currently, vast amounts of treated water are lost to leaks before they even reach the tap. Digital twins allow us to model and optimize entire networks. Wastewater processing and resource recovery. We need a paradigm shift. We must stop viewing wastewater as waste and start viewing it as a resource. Advanced technologies can now extract energy, biogas, nutrients, phosphorus, nitrogen, and clean water from sewage. Advanced filtration. To tackle the emerging contaminants I mentioned earlier, we are seeing breakthroughs in membrane technology and advanced oxidation processes that can break down persistent chemicals like PFAS. Atmospheric water harvesting. For arid regions where there is no surface water, capturing moisture directly from the air is becoming a viable lifeline. These technologies exist today. The challenge is not invention, the challenge is adoption and scaling. Technology needs a strategy to guide it. The World Bank's 2024 framework, Water for People, Water for Food, Water for the Planet, offers a holistic approach. It reminds us that these sectors are interconnected. If we take too much water for agriculture, water for food, we threaten the supply for cities, water for people, and destroy the ecosystem, water for planet. Historically, these sectors competed against each other. This framework pushes for an integrated approach where we optimize for all three. It advocates for valuing water correctly, recognizing its economic, social, and environmental worth so that it is not wasted. Let's ground this in reality. Can it actually be done? The answer is yes. Let's look at Cambodia. Following years of conflict, Cambodia's water infrastructure was destroyed. In the 1990s, the Phnom Penh Water Supply Authority was inefficient, corrupt, and bankrupt. But through visionary leadership and strict reform, they transformed. Key success factors: ambitious goals. The government didn't settle for small improvements, they aimed for 100% coverage. Institutional reform. They turned the Water Authority, the PPWSA, into an autonomous, profitable public utility. They installed meters and enforced payment collection, even from powerful figures. This revenue allowed them to reinvest in the system. Community engagement. They worked with the people, using marketing to change behaviors around sanitation. Today, Phnom Penh has some of the cleanest water in the region, proving that with good governance and political will, recovery is possible even in the most challenging circumstances. As we conclude this long journey, we must look to the future. What is the roadmap for the next 5 years? 1. Increased investment. We must bridge the $140 billion gap. This requires blended finance, using public funds to de-risk projects so that private capital can flow into the water sector. 2. Strengthened governance. We need strong institutions. We need policies that promote efficiency and penalize pollution. We need transboundary agreements to prevent conflicts over shared rivers. 3. Enhanced data systems. We need to invest in monitoring infrastructure. We need real-time data to make evidence-based decisions. 4. Innovative solutions. We must embrace the digital and technological innovations we discussed. We need climate-resilient infrastructure that can withstand the extreme weather of the future. SDG6 is the goal that unlocks all others. By securing water, we secure health, we secure food, and we secure peace. The task ahead is monumental. We need to accelerate our efforts sixfold. But as we have seen from the technologies available and the success stories like Cambodia, it is not impossible. Thank you for joining me in this discussion on the future of our world's most vital resource.
คุณคิดว่าในประเทศไทยมีปัญหาเรื่องน้ำหรือไม่ครับ
มีค่ะในบางพื้นที่ของประเทศไทยก็ยังประสบปัญหาจากการขาดแคลนน้ำโดยเฉพาะในชนบทและในบางพื้นที่น้ำก็ยังมีสารปนเปื้อนจากการทำการเกษตรและโรงงานค่ะ
ที่สุขาภิบาลไม่ดีส่งผลต่อสุขภาพอย่างไรครับ
ค่ะเมื่อไม่มีห้องน้ำหรือระบบกำจัดของเสียที่เหมาะสมเชื้อโรคต่างๆก็สามารถแพร่กระจายได้ง่ายโดยเฉพาะในกลุ่มเด็กๆค่ะพวกเขาอาจป่วยด้วยน้ำสกปรกค่ะ
ปัญหาน้ำที่พบในหลายประเทศคืออะไรครับ
ยังมีคนจำนวนมากที่ไม่มีน้ำสะอาดใช้ค่ะบางพื้นที่คนยังต้องใช้น้ำจากแม่น้ำหรือจากบ่อซึ่งมันไม่ปลอดภัยเลยค่ะ
เราจะแก้ปัญหาเหล่านี้ได้อย่างไรครับ
เราสามารถประหยัดน้ำค่ะแล้วก็รักษาแม่น้ำแล้วก็เข้าร่วมชุมชนเพื่อรักษาแม่น้ำค่ะ
เปิดดิมึงจะไปไหมเนี่ยเปิดกี่โมงแล้วมึงเอาดีสายแล้วเสร็จแล้วเพื่อนได้เพื่อนไป
A few moments later
ไอ้เชี่ยแม่งนี่แม่งว่าแบบมันก็สนุกนะเว้ยแต่ว่าแบบว่ายังไม่สุดว่ะเอาตรง
จริงเหรอวะ
ดูตัวกูดิเปื้อนเรื่องตัวมึงดูตัวมึงดิไม่เปื้อนเลย
หรอจริงเหรอเพื่อน
ตอนนิดนึงเนาะเพื่อน
ถ้าผมว่าคือโอเควะ
ชิคกี้พาย
ไม่โดนเลยนะช่วงนี้ไม่โดนเลย
ไม่โดนเลยเหรอ
กูก็ไม่ค่อยโดน
ไม่ป่ะกูไม่ค่อยโดนนะรับน้อง
จริง
หรือว่าเราไม่เด่นบอกวะว่าคนรู้ว่าเราไม่ค่อยเด่นว่ะ
แต่การถ่ายกับมองเต็มเลย
กูว่าเราว่าแปลกแต่ว่าช่วงนี้กูทากันแดดแบบไม่ทั่วหน้ามันขาวบางจุดอะไรเงี้ย
เดี๋ยวนี้ออกแดดดีนะไม่ได้พูดบอกไหม
ว่า
ไม่บอกเลยนะ
ว่าพอดีเป๊ะ
ดีนะ
เกลี่ยดีว่องเกลี่ยดีอาจจะยัง
ยัง
กูเกลี่ยไม่ค่อยดี
ยังไม่เป็นไรยังไม่พาไปร้านเหนียว
Few moments later
เชี่ยอะไรเนี่ยโหขนาดนี้เลยเหรอวะเจ๊มึงเห็นข่าวไหมเนี่ย
ข่าวอะไรวะ
น้ำดำอ่ะโอ้โห
ที่ไหนเนี่ยหอไหนเนี่ย
หอผมจะแถวหอเรานะไม่รู้ว่าหอเราจะเป็นหรือเปล่าว่า AI หรือยุคนี้ AI บ่อย
ที่นี่มันกรองน้ำดีใช่แต่ผมไม่โดนขนาดนั้นเลยผมมีจริงมาก
เสียวว่า
ล้างหน้านะ
โหกูจะไปอาบน้ำวะโกงเพื่อนอ่ะน้ำไม่ดำเพื่อนแน่ใจนะ
ไม่ดำเพื่อน
เอ้ยน้ำไม่ดำจริงว่ะ
เฮ้ยมึงจะโวยวายอะไรวะเมื่อกี้กูก็เปิดน้ำไปดูแล้วมันไม่ด
ำเราไม่งั้นไม่เชื่อมึงมาดูดิโอ้ยวันนี้
ไหนวะ
ยิ่งดูดิผมร่วงนี่เป็นกระจุกเลย
เชี่ย
ร่วงจริงเนี่ย
มะเร็งหรือเปล่า
น้ำเป็นว่าน้ำ
เชี่ยอันตรายถึงชีวิตมึงดูดิเฮ้ยมึงน่ากลัวกูกลัวมากนะเว้ยเฮ้ยกูไม่อาบแล้ว
เชี่ยแม่งเอ้ยผมกูก็ร่วงน้ำไม่ก็ดำชีวิตสิ่งกูจะขึ้นหรือเปล่าก็ไม่รู้มึงดูไอ้เจวะทำไมชีวิตกูต้องมาเจออะไรแบบนี้วะ
แจ้งเลย
กูจะแจ้ง
เลยเบอร์
อยู่ไหนเบอร์3คนเมื่อกี้อยู่ไหน
ไม่ใช่1150กูโทรให้เดี๋ยวกูโทร
ทำไมเบอร์
โทรให้เบอร์อะไรนะ1150ใช่ไหมโลครับโอเค4ครับ
12หรือเปล่า
ยาอะไรฮาวายเอียนนี่คือยาอะไรวะ
ไม่รู้เหมือนกันชื่อย
าอะไร
บ้าน้ำหน้าพิซซ่าเวน
มันไม่ใช่อีกโอ้โหหกไหมหกเก้า
อะไรวะ
ตองเก้าไง
เฮ้ย
หกตองเก้าครับอุบัติเหตุอะไรครับไม่ได้รถชนครับเหงา โทรมาคุยเล่นเฉย
โอ้
ๆขอโทษจริงครับ
ไอ้เหี้ยชีวิตกู
มึงไปเซิร์ชดูดิเซิร์ชดูเบอร์กูบอกให้เบอร์มาอะไรนะการนาซ่าไหม
ไปไกลแล้วนาซาแล้วผมกูแค่ร่วงน้ำแค่ดำเพื่อนไอ้เชี่ยเจ
อะไรเพื่อน
น้ำดำกูนึกว่าน้ำสุกี้ไอ้เวน
เฮ้ย
ดำมากบ้าหรือเปล่า
อันเนี้ยมันทำนี้เสร็จใช่ไหมแล้วพอเราทำถึงขั้นตอนเนี้ยเดี๋ยวเราก็ค่อยไป
อ๋อ
ภาพกัน
โอเค เข้าใจแล้ว ขอบคุณค่ะ แต่ว่าขอไปกรอกน้ำก่อนได้ไหม
ได้เดี๋ยวไปก่อนด้วยกัน
5 minutes later.
ได้เลย
ทำอะไรอ่ะ
งานบ้าดิแม่งโคตรยากเลย
วิอ่านไม่ออก
ก็ใช้วิธีแปลเลยดิค่ะ
ถูกทำอะไรอ๋ออันนี้อย่างนี้ใช่ไหม
ใช่เอ้ย
ทำไปเลย
รู้สึกปวดท้องว่ะเป็น
ไปหาหมอไหม
ไม่รู้เหมือนกัน อาจจะต้องไปกินยาก่อนกลับมา
ปวดท้องเป็นไงบ้างเนี่ย
ก็ดีขึ้นแล้วนะ แต่ว่าก็ยังมีปวดอยู่อ่ะ
อ้าวไม่คือไม่จำไม่ได้ใช่ไหมว่ากินอะไรไป
ไม่มีนะกินแต่น้ำมาสิ ก็ไม่รู้ว่ามันเพราะอะไรอ่ะ
แต่น้ำมีแต่ก่อนเลย
เฮ้ย จริงดิ
มันเป็นนี้หรือเปล่า
ว่าแล้วว่าปวดเพราะอะไรโถ
เนี่ยต้องไปดูดีๆนะเวลากิน
Smile and learn.
Hello, friends. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic, clean water and sanitation. Have you heard of that before? Let me explain it to you. As you know, water is a very important resource that all living things depend on. When we talk about clean water and sanitation, we're referring to the technical and social efforts that make safe and accessible water available to everyone in the world. According to the United Nations, 1 in 3 people in the world do not have access to safe drinking water. And 2 out of 5 do not have a place to wash their hands. Millions of people do not even have access to a toilet. All this means that hygiene conditions in many places are quite limited. For these and other reasons, clean water and sanitation is one of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. To solve these problems, it's necessary to do 2 things. Have clean water systems that improve the living conditions of all people, and reduce water pollution. The United Nations wants to make safe drinking water universally accessible in the next few years. Wouldn't it be great if everyone in the world had safe drinking water in their homes? In addition, the UN has given governments numerous tips and recommendations for improving water quality and restoring marine ecosystems. Isn't that great? To achieve this, it's essential to reduce pollution and make clean water sources available in every part of the world. Achieving clean water and sanitation requires effort from local, national, and international authorities and from all of us as a global community. When we take care of water, we're taking care of the planet. Don't forget that.
We've learned so much in just one video. Did you know there are many more videos? Imagine how much you could learn. Subscribe to the Smile and Learn educational channel to learn and have fun at the same time.